What's going on, guys? PC here, and welcome to another episode of I'm Playing. Today I'm playing Millennium Racer Y2K Fighters on the Dreamcast. You might not have actually heard of this game, and there's a good reason for that. It was never actually released. Well, not until a few days ago, at least. This game was found on a Dreamcast dev kit and released online for anyone to play, which is fantastic. It's always cool to see new unreleased Dreamcast games. Now, a lot of people were under the assumption that this game had never actually been announced for the Dreamcast. A PC port of this game, well, I shouldn't say PC port, the PC version of this game was released in 1999, and no one had really known about the Dreamcast version or that there was a Dreamcast port in the works. And, well, actually it was known, because I found an article on a French gaming website called Gross Pixels, and they mentioned this game, and this was from 2003. This is an article from 2003 that mentions this game being ported to the Dreamcast. Now, it also mentions some other interesting things that may explain why this game was never released. The first thing is that the publisher, which was Cryo Interactive, greenlit the game to Create Studios for the Dreamcast, and Create Studios actually developed the game in only 6 months. Now, the article doesn't actually say when any of this happened, but it does mention that Cryo Interactive was in some financial trouble. They eventually declared bankruptcy in 2002, so they were obviously having some issues financially, and that could explain why this game was never released. They might not have actually had the money to produce copies of the game, and of course the Dreamcast was discontinued in 2001, so that's likely why this game was shelved. And that's a shame, because the game is 100% complete. It is a finished product, which is very unusual for a game that was found on a development kit. But yeah. But anyway, enough of the history behind this game. Let's see how it actually is. So, the game has a few different modes. We have Grand Prix, which goes through a series of races, and you have to get a certain amount of points in each race to unlock the next one. You also have Ghost Race, which is you race your ghost, kind of like a time trial type of thing. You have a 2-player split screen mode, Lessons, which is a tutorial. You also have some options in Arcade Races, which is basically just single race. You can race on any of the tracks that you've unlocked in Grand Prix. So let's just go to an arcade race. I've unlocked most of the tracks in this. I actually played through just about the entire Grand Prix, except for the final one. I didn't have enough points to unlock the final race, but yeah, I think I have a good impression of what the game is like. So let's select a few things here. You can change your engine type, which has different statistics like boost, acceleration, jump, and grip. That's one of the very unique things about this game. You can actually jump, sort of like Crazy Taxi 2, and I actually really like that mechanic. It makes this game very different from other racers that are out there. You can also change your bike color. I really like the bikes and the look of the whole game. It's a very futuristic, almost Tron-like look to it. You can change the color of the guy on the bike as well. So let's go with that. So actually, for some reason, it's not letting me play some of the tracks. Maybe because I didn't score enough points on them. I'm not really sure. But alright, so we're on difficulty easy. I'm not sure how to change that actually. But yeah, let's go to the first one. Might as well. As you might imagine, the first track in the game is definitely the easiest one, but it serves as a good introduction to the game's mechanics and controls. One of the things you'll really want to practice a lot in this game is jumping. It's not something you see in a lot of other racing games, and that's probably for a good reason, because, well, a lot of vehicles don't tend to jump. Apparently they do in the future, though, so that's something to look forward to. But it's kind of a shame, because it's a lot of fun, and it's not just a gimmick. It's something that's actually required in this game. Not necessarily on this first track. You can actually race through this entire track without jumping once. But some of the later tracks, or a lot of the later tracks, do require you to jump. And the main reason being is that you have multiple sections of floating track that you need to jump between, because they end up just ending, and obviously if you don't jump you're just going to fall off into the abyss, which, as you might imagine, is not really a good thing. So yeah, jumping is a very crucial mechanic in this game, and it's cool because it makes this game stand out from the competition. It's not your typical futuristic racer. And to be honest, I think this game would be sort of generic if it wasn't for that jumping mechanic. A lot of the track designs in this game are based around being able to jump. Like I said, you have these floating sections of track, you have multiple levels of track that you have to jump between, which is a lot of fun. I really enjoy just bouncing between these different sections of track. And they give you multiple options and different ways to actually complete the track. Multiple paths, I guess you could say. So you have a little more freedom than you do with most other racers, where you have to just race along the track and, you know, stay on the same path every lap. You can mix things up, you can jump up, you can jump down, you can do whatever you want. And the game has some really, really good and tight controls as well, which is really nice because some of the more challenging tracks in the game have some really tight corners and turns, so you'll need those precise controls to get around them. And a lot of the time it's almost impossible to make some of these turns, so you'll need to jump over them. And I find myself jumping a lot in this game, especially on the more difficult tracks. You'll end up just hopping from one section of track to another instead of taking turns, which is kind of cool because you can make your own shortcuts. You can, instead of taking a turn, you just jump right over it, which I really like. Now, as far as futuristic racers go, speed is of course a very important factor. And this is a very fast game. Probably not as fast as Wipeout, but Wipeout, you know, I personally think it's too fast. I don't really enjoy slamming into the wall every 2 seconds. And I think this game got the speed just right. It's not too slow and it's not too fast. And couple that with the fact that you have really good control over your vehicle means that you won't be slamming into walls nearly as much as you do in Wipeout. Or at least as much as I do anyway. Maybe I just suck at the Wipeout games, but yeah. But of course you do have boost in the game, which you can see by the boost meter on the left, which is the yellow meter. Whoops. Hit a wall there. And you can increase your boost meter over time. It will slowly rise up over time, but you can also go over the yellow boost pads, which will increase it faster. You also have these yellow rings in the air, and if you jump through those, they will increase your boost meter. And there are also some green rings as well, like this one here, which will increase your speed, overall speed, by I think probably about 5 bars. You can see your speed right next to the boost meter there. But yeah, the game can get quite fast. If you can get up to the maximum speed, it's pretty darn fast. I really do like the track design in this game as well. It's got a really cool futuristic space vibe going on, which is really cool. Of course, that's what most futuristic racers are themed around, but I think the tracks are really well designed. Some of the later, more challenging tracks can be a little bit frustrating at times, with the tight turns and a lot of sections that you can fall off, but for the most part the track design is really, really good. So let's move on to one of the more difficult tracks, and I'll show you what those are like. So here's one of the more difficult tracks in the game. This one is called Cult with a K. It is one of the last tracks that you'll unlock in the game, and it's definitely a lot more difficult than that first one. As you'll be able to see, jumping is definitely required on this track. I love jumping around corners. Oh, that's awesome. But I just love the track design in this game. It's just really creative. I mean, look at this section right here. You have these, I don't even know what this is. It's like a maze of booster walls. I just really love the track design. And as you can see, this section right here definitely requires you to jump. Hoppity hoppity. Oh, jeez. Yep, that's what happens when you don't jump. But yeah, it's just overall, this game is really, really well designed. It's got some awesome tracks. I love the aesthetic. There are only a few gripes I have about this game, but overall, it's just a really good and solid Dreamcast racer. I would highly recommend going out and grabbing a download of this and popping it on a CDR. I mean, how can you not try this? It's just gonna cost you a CDR, folks. But yeah, it's a shame this game never got released, because I'm sure it would have done really well. The PC version actually got really good reviews. So, yeah. But, I mean, the publisher had some financial difficulty, obviously, and wasn't able to make this thing happen, on the Dreamcast at least. But anyway, guys, that is it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.